All right, friends, it's T-Man, and I'm back, broski, with a new video. Again on Jason Blaha. We're going to do a reaction video to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness slave himself, Jason Blaha. So, Blaha says, Louie Simmons said, get stronger with the lightest weight possible. Oh, he did he? Get stronger with the lightest weight as possible. This is ridiculous, man. Okay.
Louie Simmons said, get as strong as possible with the lightest weight possible. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And I could discuss this from a couple different perspectives. And I always think it's...
Is this coming from the guy who's on, like, steroids, on drugs, Louie Simmons, who failed? Why did he have to take drugs if he knew what he was talking about? Here's the question. Why did he have to take drugs if he knew what he was talking about? I don't have to take drugs because I know what I'm talking about. See what I mean? I knew what I was talking about in the past, and I know what I'm talking about in the future. So I don't have to take drugs to get what I want out of bodybuilding.
It's interesting, and yes, I'm going to keep doing time.
And neither does anybody else if they listen to me. If they listen to me, then they don't have to take drugs either. But if you want to go to the gym and fail, well, continuously fail, listen to the fake channels and everything, you know. That's okay. See, here's the thing. I'm with you. I'm trying to help all of you. But I get people that come and they want to attack me because I'm putting out the real truth and I prove everything that I say? Wow, that's incredible. So you want to attack the person that is on your side trying to help you. I don't get it. You see what I mean? I don't understand the internet anymore, man. I get these death threats before when I first started my channel. All kinds of threats. If you get your channel monetized, if you put this information out, you know, we're going to come after you and this and that. Come on, man. Are you people serious? Jesus.
And tons of conjugate stuff since I'm running it again, and people love this information. So it comes as a little bit of a almost contradiction when he said that, because like, didn't he have people max out every single week, like on an upper and lower body day? And it's like, yes, he absolutely did. But
he always contradicted himself because he didn't know. He doesn't know anything. If he does, listen, there's only one way to become a millionaire. All right? Listen to me. You're not going to become a millionaire working for minimum wage. Do you understand me? You're not going to become a minimum. You're not going to become a. If you say, "Hey, man, I want to become a millionaire," but you go continuously working in that, if you continue in that behavior, working for minimum wage, you cannot become a millionaire, bro. Get it? You're not going to become a millionaire, or billionaire, whatever, working minimum wage. You have to do what people do to become billionaires, millionaires. Get it? You understand me? And it's not based on I gotta go work forever in a minimum wage job and eventually maybe in 1,000 years I'll be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that. In bodybuilding, it's the same thing. We have two movements. We have eccentric and concentric. In the concentric, that's the minimum wage. In the eccentric, that's where you become a billionaire. You get it, dude? It's really simple.
He pointed out, they followed Prelipin's chart on it, and it was only about 5% of the total training. So stop and think about that for a minute. Keeping in mind, if you really go look at the way Louie trained people, they probably did more.
I saw how he trained people. It's fake. He gave him a shot in the back room. That's how he trained them.
Sets of reps in the 20+ rep range per week, and they did heavy singles. So that's not a conflict. So stop and think about it from a few perspectives. Think about the speed work for one. Like, a lot of this video is going to be mostly speed work, but I think we're in like some 12 rep sets for some dumbbells and isolation work and stuff in here, which again would be very, very much in line with what he was talking about. But stop and think about even speed work. Like, look how light the weights are that we're using. All right, we're lifting violently, we're lifting explosively. Okay, that's not a lot of weight. That's 135 on the bar plus, 50 pounds of chains. That's not a lot of weight. Those sets are 30 seconds apart though. You jump in, you do 10 sets of 3 in less than 10 minutes with this, doing them ballistically, doing them as explosively as possible, right? Compensatory acceleration against bands or chains. That's lightweight, though. I mean, really and truly for me, that's lightweight. Same thing, you guys will get over to the squats. You'll see the speed pulls. People are going to laugh like, you got 240.
Bands and chains are really, really lightweight for him. Yeah, but he can't do those. He can't do those eccentrically. But whatever. All of his exercises are concentric. Man. And he's telling you, you're going to build muscle. You're not going to get rich working a minimum wage job. You're not going to build muscle lifting a minimum wage job. Get it?
Live on the bar. We've seen you do 10 reps with 500 pounds on a deadlift. It's like, yeah, I know. So, but the point here is this is a perfect example.
Yeah, I've seen you do this weight or 500 pounds, whatever, bro. Listen, man, I've seen a lot of people lift concentrically, and they don't really have anything to show eccentrically at all. There's no muscle gains, and they're not strong on the eccentric, and then they get injured. They always get injured. I've seen them. They're always crying about injuries. Always crying about injuries. And the reason why? Because they're weak eccentrically. Come on.
So instead of lifting super heavy, we're going to get strong using really light weights for speed. Okay, really light weights for speed. Why?
Yeah, you should lift. Look, if you're asking me, you should lift heavy, but eccentrically. Put all your effort lifting heavy eccentrically, so you could get something out of it. I thought everybody went to the gym, and we all went to the gym because we wanted to get big and strong, right? That was the idea. And then all of a sudden they ended up as a small, strong guy running around showing off that they're small, strong guys. Wow, that's the goal? Girls don't care about small, strong guys, dude.
You can do a ton of it and you can recover from it.
Girls care about big, strong, jacked guys, not small, strong guys.
That doesn't carry over that lightweight, but it does. Maximum force production. And stop and think about that for a minute. Let's think about the speed benching. Those reps, you are pushing as hard and as fast as you can.
I love this guy. Maximum force production. Yes, push those reps as hard as you can. Wow. Okay.
And if you count the 3 reps and then time your max bench, if you have these dialed in at the right weight, the concentric rep on your 1 rep max bench, even in a competition, is going to be about the same amount of time it takes you to do those 3 concentric reps on the explosive. Okay? So pushing with as much force as you can, trying to hit the upper threshold muscle fibers for the same amount of time in the set.
Listen, I have 2 guys. I have some other people, but they don't show me their exercise. They just show me their transformation in their body. But the 2 guys that actually have been filming doing these eccentric overload exercises, you see their progress is coming quicker and quicker. They're progressing faster and faster. But both channels, you can see these 2 guys. I post their videos. I even talk about them. They're progressing quickly. I mean, if you people cannot see that with your eyes, the eyes, they don't lie, bro. You understand me? The eyes don't lie. They're progressing quickly. What are you all doing? See what I mean? They're going to leave all of you in the dust. See, that was like me in my old gym. When I started doing eccentric exercises in my old gym and I started coming in, I had to restructure my body and everything because there was just a lot of bullshit fluid I was carrying in there, sarcoplasmic, at the time. So I restructured it, and then I went all in eccentric exercises. I went all in, bro. Like I ate like I never ate before, and I lifted like I never lifted before. You know, and I reached the top weight of 285, and I probably could have gotten bigger, but I moved away. Maybe I would have weighed 300 more. Who the hell knows? But I moved away at the time. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, and it happens rapidly. It doesn't take 15, 20 years. It happened in less than a year. In less than a year. So I don't know what people are talking about out there. It's going to take you 15, 20 years or something like blah, 30 years to get to whatever. It's not going to take you 20 or 30 years. But if you lift concentrically, yeah, it could take you just to get a scintilla of what you would get in eccentric exercise. It could take you 30 years. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? That minimum wage thing again in the billionaire. You're in the minimum wage job, bro. Got to get out of there. You've got to get out of that mentality. You have to abandon it. Abandon all of that. Leave it. To become successful, you have to change your mentality, your behavior. You have to abandon these fake ways. This is something by the government to keep you weak. That's pretend strength. They make you believe, oh, you're strong because you lift a heavy weight. But you are small and weak, and they are not scared of you, the government. They'll send people to get you, topple you. They don't care about you. But they're definitely they're scared of big, strong people. Because when I was in Mexico, I had some issues. But I'm not going to talk about it now. But they were scared of me because I was big. That's why. They were scared because I was big. They weren't scared of me because I was a small, strong guy, could lift a heavy weight. They were scared because I was a big, strong guy. See what I mean?
You would max at. The nervous system, there is carryover. Plus, you're doing 10 of them back to back to back. How much practice is
And here's the thing. As a natural lifter, when you get that big, believe me, you're not like these fake bodybuilders. They're not functional. They're filled with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Their muscles are just blowing up. They can barely move around or whatever because they're carrying all that excessive fluid and stuff. It's just garbage weight. See what I mean? But in eccentric exercise, your muscles become a lot denser. You look different. You look dense, heavy. You're heavier, denser. You're a lot stronger. It's a totally different look you're gonna get.
get you into setting up, doing first reps, all these things. Okay, because that's one problem we have. One problem we have, that's a whole nother topic. Why do we want those first reps?
Look at his exercises. They're concentric. They're not eccentric exercises. This isn't the principles of bodybuilding. He lifts like a power lifter. Concentric, 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 concentric. You understand me? That's why he says powerlifting is a carryover. It's a carryover to other sports. Well, bodybuilding is not a sport because it compromises sportive performance like it says in NCBI. Christ.
I don't know how many of you guys out there, how about me when you guys watch me do a heavy 4 or 5 rep set of deadlifts? You guys have watched me come in and do like 4 reps before, 5 reps, 550, right? Everything I have, 550 for 5. Okay for an old man. All right? But do you notice the first rep moves slower? If I haven't been doing all the speed work, the first rep...
You don't. You lift it concentrically. You're weak. You can only lift concentric. He can only lift concentrically. And then he tries to, oh, guys, look at me I do pretty good for an old man. 405, this and that. Yeah. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a joke. He can't do anything eccentrically because he's weak. He never built any muscle. I'll explain this. You are going to be weak on the eccentric because you never built muscles, because that's where muscles are built. They're built in the eccentric. They're not built concentric lifting. See what I mean? So when all you people say, oh, you built muscle or this or that, you're strong, and you're still lifting concentrically, you don't fool me. You don't fool me. I know you're weak and you don't have any muscle because you don't lift eccentrically. All you people lift concentrically. You're concentric slaves, bro. Get it? Like this concentric slave.
Slower. How often does that happen with any of your lifts? You do a 3 rep, 4 rep, 5 rep set. If that's how you train all the time, because you can't do...
This is why your grandpa at 60 looked like you at 45.
Because you can't do singles all the time. You really can't. Can't do that many per week. You get really slow with those first reps because you don't practice enough of them. What happens when you start doing 10 triples like that? You practice a lot of first reps and you're practicing them explosively. You're going to get stronger. It's going to affect your 1 rep max. All right, there's a lot going on with the technique and neural drives there. Same thing with your speed pulls. Same thing with your speed squats. You're practicing being...
Again, speed pulls, speed squats, this and that. Bodybuilding is not a sport, bro. I don't know what this guy's talking about. He makes like lifting is a sport. Lifting is not a sport. Lifting is just there to build your body big and strong. That's it. And then it's a carryover to every sport. But he tries to make this lifting stuff like it's a sport or something. It's not. And when they use the word fitness, what does that mean? Fitness. It doesn't mean health. It means fitness, to be fit. It means to be good at doing these movements. See what I mean? Now, we automatically get good at doing them, but that's not our main goal in eccentric exercise and bodybuilding. That, oh, we go in there because we want to get good at doing exercises. No, bro. We go there because we want to build muscle, get bigger and stronger. We want to build these hybrid type 2 muscle fibers. In other words, we want to do as many unaccustomed exercises that we can in that gym. And then we circulate them. We circulate them around. You understand me? And we stick to the eccentric. That's what we do. We stick to the eccentric. We never pass isometric to concentric. Okay? We always stay eccentric. That's it, really, basically. That's not hard to understand. I don't know if some people it's hard to understand that. See what I mean? Eventually, you'll get used to it, and you'll understand why you want to lift eccentrically. Because if you're squeezing your muscles, trying to get it damaged by squeezing them, getting these so-called micro cracks or micro injuries, micro damage in the muscle by squeezing it as hard as you can. I'm not saying if you put pressure on a muscle, very high pressure on a muscle, squeezing it, can it get some of these micro injuries or cracks? Yeah, there can be something there. But guess what? I already did that. I already did a video on that. It's so minute. It's so minute that the body just forgoes this whole repair and remodeling. It's not worth it. You understand me? So it may just repair it, and then that's it. There's not going to be any remodeling there. So it's just a waste of time because the amount that's there is so minute. It's not worth it. That's what it says in NCBI, that the amount of damage that was caused is so minute. How is the damage? How is damage caused to a muscle? Let's say, using a very heavy weight concentrically. Well, we know that you're squeezing the muscle at the top, right? So there's pressure on the muscle, squeezing it really hard. Okay, that squeezing, that constant squeezing can do what? See what I mean? So it's like you're battling uphill. You want to squeeze muscles to get these micro damages when the eccentric, the pull on the muscle, you could get it's astronomically much higher. The damage is so much higher in the eccentric. But you want to take the hardest route. I want to keep squeezing my muscles and squeezing them and pushing them. And maybe there, instead of just repairing it, there will be a minute amount of remodeling. Yeah, man. Not in this fucking lifetime. Maybe in the next one, bro. But not in this one, because I don't know anybody that built any muscle lifting concentrically. That's why they take steroids and powders and pills. Get it and fake it.
Fast on those first reps. Is that what you need when you hit a 1 rep max? You need to be fast. So it carries over. You're definitely.
Yeah, when you hit a 1 rep max, you need to be fast. You know, blood just keeps talking and talking and talking.
Gonna get stronger. Well, what about the other stuff? What do you mean get stronger with the lightest weight possible? My perfect example, you saw me doing incline dumbbell presses. Guys, you've watched me do rep work with 315 on a bench. Again, not my best lift by any means. Most of you see me bench is 365 roll. But realistically, 68-pound dumbbells there, guys, on a chest press. That's not a lot of weight. I mean, really, that's less than a plate per side if we were to take it over to a bar. Does it build muscle? Yes, it builds muscle. Can you build muscle with lighter weights like that, particularly after you...
No, it doesn't build muscle. None of this stuff builds muscle. Him doing those, and him trying to always tell you, oh, I lift this heavy weight and I lift that heavy weight. I've never been that kind of person where I always had to boast about, I lifted the heaviest weight or anything like that. I just wanted to get brutally strong. I don't give a shit about, I have to boast to people, hey, by the way, I lift the heaviest weight and all that. What? I never really cared about that. I just wanted to get brutally big and super fucking strong. So the more of these sarcomeres that you get in series and parallel, your punching power will be extreme. The more you can accumulate these myofibrillars, the stronger the force you can produce more force. I think people don't even understand that. I'll explain this one more time. Science will corroborate what I say. The more myofibrillar growth that you accumulate in your muscles, the higher the force and velocity you can produce. There's more force that you can produce. See that? Yeah. You can bring it up in NCBI. It most likely will pop up and tell you that. I don't know if I can look it up now. The more muscle fatigue and how influences muscle function. I don't know if that's going to do that. Hold on. Yes, in general, accumulating more sarcomeres, whether in series or parallel, leads to increased force production. Sarcomeres in parallel increase the muscle's cross-sectional area, thus enabling to generate more force. Sarcomeres in series allow for greater muscle length and a wide range of motion, enabling more force production across a large range. Do you understand me? Across a large range. So your punching power will increase. There you go. You'll produce more force. That's the whole point. Anyways, you get the picture, man.
After you've done other stuff. Yeah, of course we can, bud.
So my goal was never to be the best person lifting concentrically in the gym. My goal was to be the biggest jacked guy walking in the gym. That's why when I finally got jacked and big, the people notice you. They notice you right away. And then they started like, well, that's because he takes all that time off. Well, that's one aspect. Well, that's because he does those heavy squats. Well, I mean, you're squatting. It helps. That's part of it. You know what I mean? Or then another guy, I think one guy, eventually he caught me. He saw me down at Abacus, the buffet. He saw me down at the buffet. He says, so that's because he eats for like hours at this buffet. Well, that's another aspect too. That helped as well. See what I mean? But it wasn't just that. The major stimulus to building muscle is damage. The amount of damage you accumulate in that session will dictate how many sarcomere in series and in parallel you get. So when you go to lift on the day in the gym, the day that you go to the gym and work out, you want to put in 100% effort. You know what I mean? Because even my friend Nacho, he said, my 16-year-old baseball player, his cousin, he said he only felt this damage for 1 or 2 days. He says, oh, we need to train a little bit harder. Yeah, your instincts kick in and say what? We didn't train hard enough. We didn't get enough damage. We wasted. Our workout is now wasted. We lost a week. Now we have to go back and we have to put in more effort. So you have to go and you have to put in more effort to get this damage. That's the whole point of going to a gym, to accumulate enough damage so then you can go through a repair and a remodeling cycle to get bigger and stronger and get jacked. Like it said there, like I just read to you, get it? To give you force production, to make you super strong.
Builders do it all the time. But what happens if we're doing it after other stuff? Like if you do it after a training max, like what does the research show on that? Oh man. Your muscle fiber recruitment, your nervous system is more active. So if you go hit a max bench and then you do a bunch of 10 or 12 rep sets or whatever, the research shows your nervous system activates on them more effectively. You actually get a more efficient set. So that is how we're training. We're either doing maxes on this system or we're doing speed work like this. Compensatory.
Yeah, see, he's so worried about nervous system, wasting his time and everything. Time is money, your life and everything. Why? Blaha's so stubborn. He's so stubborn. He will never build muscles because, and then he'll put out videos that advanced lifters doing eccentric work can no longer build muscle. Well, then he admitted that eccentric exercises build muscle. So why didn't he ever do eccentric exercise? Why doesn't he ever do that? Because he's stubborn. He's stubborn, bro. His channel would fold. The moment he went with me, because everybody knows me, he knows my beef between me and Blaha, okay? That beef that we had. So if he starts doing eccentric exercise, everybody's gonna come running and say, "Why are you doing that?" Then that will prove that I am right. And he's stubborn. He doesn't want to prove that I'm right. You understand me? He doesn't, or in other words, he doesn't want to admit that genetic beast is right, that eccentric exercise is what builds real strength and bodily strength and muscles. Yeah, he would have to admit it. You understand me? And steroids, they're fake. You don't need steroids. You don't need them. You just think you need them, but you don't need them. Because I proved it there. You build these things called sarcomere in series and in parallel. You build them. But if you take steroids and you fake it, man, you're done. Because number one, you won't be able to synthesize protein anymore like you did. You're going to be crashed, completely crashed. Your body's going to start breaking down proteins. You're going to feel really, really weak because these steroids, the androgen receptors and the steroids where they were binding, they're going to go away. That strength's going to go away. And a lot of the fake muscle you built, the sarcoplasm, will shrink rapidly. That goes first, rapidly. And then anything that you built in between, any contractile proteins, they're going to go away. They're going to go away so fast. It's going to make your head spin.
Well, you're still activating that nervous system. Is that going to carry over?
Look at Blaha from the side. Look at his boobs. They bounce. He's really fat. You just don't realize it. None of you do because he's taking steroids. He's really fat. You're going to say, well, he looks lean. He's not lean. He's fat.
Yeah, it is.
He jiggled there when he moved. It jiggled.
And then when you go to these 12 plus rep sets, like
look
you
how
saw
it
me
jiggles.
doing laying extensions for 12s, that's all lightweight, guys. Light dumbbells. I mean, 68
Did you see how it jiggled?
pound dumbbells for inclines. Come on.
It's all concentric with the chains going down light. It goes down light, goes up a little bit heavy. It's like you're fighting to go against gravity. You're fighting, but when you go with gravity, that's where all the growth is. This is just, wow, it's pure failure, pure failure.
It's high reps, it's controlled. That's what Louie would talk about. He's like, come in and do tons and tons of the light stuff. Like if you go look at...
Yeah, high reps and do tons and tons of the light stuff. That's not going to do anything. That's just going to make you better at doing that.
The way he trained, everyone thought it was just the max work and the speed work till you realize, man, these guys are doing 10, 15, 20 rep, 30 rep sets on all these small exercises. They're doing them on machines with dumbbells, with cables, bands.
Yeah, and guess what? That's endurance. And when they take steroids, it's going to accumulate as what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, because based on high volume resistance training. Huh.
What are they doing? And it was always lightweight. Literally just pump work to fatigue or to failure.
It is. It's fake.
And I would say even then, I mean, sets of 12 on dumbbells or extensions like that, that's still fairly light.
Fake.
You know, relative to the lifter. Okay? But that's the idea. What happens when we go to bands? What happens when we go to 20 reps? What happens when we go to sets of 25 on the reverse hyper? We're moving really lightweight. Will it get you stronger? Yes. Will you recover easier? Yes. It doesn't beat you up. It doesn't beat your joints up. It doesn't destroy your recovery of the structures of your body. A lot of it can be restorative. A lot of it builds tendons, blood flow.
Oh, it does it? Okay.
Okay?
None of this will build tendons or blood flow or anything. It's not going to build anything because it's not regenerative. Man, concentric exercise is not regenerative, bro. Eccentric exercise is regenerative. Look, why do you want to do... Here's the thing. If you're a natural person, it'll always prevent you from lifting like concentrically heavy, which is not good for your knees. That wears out your knees. Eccentric exercise is regenerative. That's why you want to do full squats, ass to grass. You want to do everything eccentrically because it's regenerative. So when you go down, you can only go down so heavy. You can only handle so much heavy weight. Your body will not allow you to handle any more than that. See what I'm trying to explain to you? Yeah, it's impossible. You'd never make it to the bottom If you could squat if you could squat 500 concentrically, you can now squat 500 eccentrically because you never practiced eccentrically. So when you test your strength eccentrically, you'll be shocked. Most you could do is probably two 45-pound plates. Get it? Yeah, man. So that means you got to start all over again. You have to learn how to get strong eccentrically because you're only strong concentrically. You understand me, man?
You just get thick. You can come in and just do tons and tons of pump work.
Yeah, you could get thick. Just do tons and tons of pump work. Pump up the sarcoplasm, yes, and pretend jacked.
Get stronger.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a weak link. So
Yes, get stronger concentrically like Blaha and look like him. Look like a puddle.
perfect example. If your triceps are the weakest link in your bench press, then you come in and do bunches of 12, 15, 20 rep sets of extensions. You do a bunch of 30 rep sets with band press down.
Yeah, okay.
After, and you do tons of it, all this lightweight for a couple months, and your triceps have been limiting your bench. Will you get stronger? Yes. Did you do it with really light weight that didn't beat you up? Yes. It will carry over, and that's the point. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say.
Thank God. I'll see you in the next one, friends. So much to think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. That was crazy.